We're at one of the coolest places on earth to fish, and right behind us is why. We're at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan on the St. Mary's River system, and there's ocean-going vessels literally running the river channel right next to you. And at times, especially in the summer, you can actually fish directly next to them. I'm up here with good friend Dave Atkinson, owner of Wild Bill's Bait and Tackle and Hotel up here. And this is a location that I've fished many times, but I've never fished at this time of year. We're late fall. And we're gonna, cold. And we're gonna be focusing on bays off of the river system. So a little bit different techniques than what I'm used to, but you catch some nice fish up here this time of year. You've been telling me about this for years. You know what, I took them up on it. We're gonna go troll some big crankbaits and try to catch some big walleyes. And we're gonna show you the next bite. It's a beautiful Sault Ste. Marie fish right there, huh?
I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for some fish with teeth. Fish with teeth.
Keith Cavallez, Gary Parsons, and Pete Mena live to fish. But certain fish really throw these guys over the edge. Walleye, muskie, northern pike, fish with teeth. Countless days spent on the water have turned these guys into fishing machines with an eagerness to teach people how to catch more fish. So if you are ready to become a better fisherman, join Keith, Pete, and Gary on their quest for the next bite.
I'm just looking for the next bite.
The last time we saw Chase Parsons on the St. Mary's River system outside of fishing professional walleye tournaments was when he and his father, Hall of Famer Gary Parsons, were testing slow death hooks and found themselves swallowed up in a fast-paced numbers bite.
They're just coming in hand over fist now.
Even have any rods down anymore?
I think one.
However, this time out, he's with Last Resort and Wild Bill's Tackle Shop owner and previous professional walleye trail angler, Dave Atkinson, and they are looking specifically to target big walleyes.
Unbelievable.
By trolling crankbaits, but obviously there is a lot of water to cover, and this type of bite isn't centered around high volume.
It's never a fast and furious bite. We'll get them.
So in a river system large enough to boast ocean freighter traffic, knowing what to look for structurally speaking for these big fall walleyes is key.
We're fishing a pretty typical fall location, basically a shallow bay off of the St. Mary's River system here. And this bay has some characteristics that you want to look for in search of fall walleyes. It has some spoil rock piles that actually come up to about 5 feet, a lot of vegetation still. We're dealing with about 50-degree water temps, so it's not real cold yet, but that structure, that vegetation, those high weeds and those spoil piles are all over the bay, and it's a big bay. So what we've done is actually use open water fishing mentality and using your GPS to help you out, to show you where the active fish are. When we first came out, we actually kind of trolled around endlessly because the whole bay is identical. And when we got that first bite, what we did is we dropped a waypoint on our GPS and stayed in that area and found that for whatever reason, it was that spoil pile or that certain type of weed growth in that small area that the fish became active. So we actually found that we dropped 2, 3, 4 more waypoints very close to that, found the active fish. And if you're fishing in situations like this where there's a vast body of water and everything's very similar, make sure you're dropping waypoints, make sure you're keeping that GPS in mind, and it's gonna help you catch a lot more fish. Yeah, that's a fish. That's a fish. We're on that, we're turning at it, and you couldn't really tell. You could see the board start bobbing. Oh, it's definitely a fish. It was tough to tell at first there, Dave, because we were making this turn here, but it looks like a pretty decent one,
Yeah,
too.
there's no doubt now.
Yep, I like how this board's coming in here. Nice tight line there. Just about ready with the net.
This your first time?
Wow. Oh, he's fighting. He's feisty. Fighting just a little bit. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, this one had a little bit of fight to him at the end, huh?
That's a pretty fish.
Yeah, it is. I'm going in the danger zone here with all these trebles.
I don't think he was going to miss that one.
No, he definitely wasn't going to get off, but just solid fish. Beautiful fish, just pretty.
Even putting the fin up for you nice.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's poser.
he's a poser. Oh man. Well, you're telling me about this bite actually the last few years, and you're like, hey, we get some pretty nice fish up here in the fall, so take advantage and
Yep. Yeah, if you can fight the weather, it's well worth it.
I would say this one is ready. Oh yeah.
Still have lots of gusto.
Yeah, I would say so. Hey, tell you what, you got to pay attention to the boards because all these weeds, but sometimes when that board's bobbing, it's a lot of fun.
Welcome to the UP.
The next bite is presented by Mercury. Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish. And Motor Guide, never stop.
In trolling situations like this where you're lucky enough to run a number of boards, we're in Michigan so you can run 3 lines per person actually. What we're doing with Dave and I, we're actually running 6 planer boards, something pretty standard. A lot of people have done it before, but if you haven't, and especially in rough conditions, when you're making turns, when you're dealing with waves, you can get boards that jump over lines, you can have a big mess in the boat. So there's a few things that you can do to make fishing a lot easier on you. Now we're using big baits today in shallow water, so the leads are short, but what you want to do is actually inside the boat, from the back of the boat to the front, make sure your rods go low to high. Okay, you can see the rod holders here. We're running 3 on each side in the back. The first one's lower, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Where you're gonna have problems is from that rod tip to the board. Those lines are gonna jump across the other boards in turns and in rough conditions. So a simple tool like that will make it a lot easier on you. And as far as fishing a lot of lines, if you have more people in the boat, the more the merrier. You can get a great spread, you can cover a lot of water, and you can catch more fish.
I should be able to go around this middle one.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. There's enough weight on that one, you can take it right behind.
That feels like a decent one.
It looks like a pretty good one. It just laid that board back. It's got it nice and vertical. That's usually a good thing. Oh yeah, it's got weight to him. I'm gonna get this board and get the net as quick as I can.
Come on, Grandpa. Feels decent.
Yeah, he's got it down. Oh man, I gotta get. Oh yeah, it's a good one, Dave. Oh, there he is, Dave. Yep. Oh, it's a nice walleye. It's a nice one. There we go.
Yes.
Oh.
Netting like I taught you.
Good fish. Look at how fat this one is. Wow.
It's more gold. Pretty. I think she's getting ready to spawn. Staging for it.
Oh man. I'm gonna need the pliers here for sure, because
Okay.
2 trebles, you weren't gonna lose this one.
I planned it that way.
Come on, come on.
Look how fat.
Yeah. Just a beast. I mean, you know, not the longest one in the world here, Dave, but get a nice girthy one.
It's got my gut.
That's a Dave Atkinson fish right there. Well, let's get this one back. But, you know, when I was taking the board off, I could tell it was heavy. You know, it had a nice big girth coming in, felt nice, and we'll take that
I
one.
think she's gonna lay a lot of eggs.
Oh, yeah.
The Real Deal. Real fishing information from real fishing experts. Presented by Amsoil.
The last few years, I've done quite a few tips on jigging. And in the past, I've talked about using, instead of using live bait, minnows and night crawlers with your jigs, going with 2.5 and 3-inch Berkeley gulp tails. And the reasons for doing that are pretty simple. You can make a lot longer casts. You can cast real hard. You don't have to worry about the minnows and the crawlers coming off. And you can actually use a technique, I like to call it power fishing, okay? You can go down a riprap shoreline like this real quickly with long casts out in front of the boat, cover water fast, find the fish. So using straight tails has been a really, really effective way for me to catch fish. But what we're gonna do today is explain kind of like the next step in jigging. And it's going from power fishing 1 with the straight tails to power fishing 2 with action tails. Whenever I find a school of fish right now, and if I'm catching them on straight tails, I'm going to go and try action tails. One of my favorites, actually, in the last 2 years, in the last year in particular, has been this little Berkley Gulp product. But you can see the deep ribs. This is called a pulse worm, okay? It's about 3 inches long. If you breathe on this, it moves in the water. And so I can fish this very fast and aggressively. It has a ton of action. In the last 2 years, in particular, these little ripple shads, these 3-inch ripple shads, again, power bait, Berkley power bait, have a ribbed division in here which gives them a lot of action and a very thin section before the paddle. So we're using this more and more and more. And this is kind of a cool bait because as you jig it, you can feel the vibration, almost like a crankbait. So I'll throw those 2 offerings to the fish to see if I get more bites. And that's the purpose of doing this, is to try to push the envelope, push that envelope, fish a little faster, show them something a little bit different, because on any given day, they may want an action tail. And for you river fishermen, and for all the people that wanted this to come out for river fishing, Berkley's just introduced their new ribworm. It's a 4-inch version, very, very soft and limber. That 4 inches gives you a lot of flexibility in the tail. The Mississippi River guys, the Missouri River guys have been smashing walleyes on tails like this. And actually, I've been using them a lot on weed lines and getting very, very good results. So action tails are like the second tier in power jigging. You're gonna wanna try them. I usually wait until I've caught a few fish on straight tails, like I said before, then go to the action tails, and you'll find that, man, some days you will really catch a lot more fish.
You know, for walleye anglers that troll, a tattletale system on their planer boards is absolutely no secret. Big fish can bite real light, so it allows anglers to detect the bites very easily. Now, this is actually a situation where I like to use that system with big crankbaits. We're running 10 to 15 foot leads behind the board only, with big baits that pull hard, so it's easy to detect the bites. But this is a bay that's full of weed, so many times the crankbaits will get fouled up, and you want to know that right away. And that's what the Tattle Flag does for you. You basically set that spring just like you would with a spinner to a little bit more pressure than what that bait pulls, and instantly you know if that crankbait picks up a weed and starts running off to the side. So you can reel it up, pull the weed off, get it back down there, and running in the strike zone.
The Tattle Flags may be giving Chase and Dave the initial green light on their next bite, but like on most bodies of water, what's actually on the other end of the line remains up for grabs.
It's crazy, whatever it is.
Especially since they're using larger profile crankbaits.
Yes! Nice! Just stocky, beautiful color to them. Man, they're pretty up here. I love fishing up here. Just crushed. I don't know if this can be a walleye.
No,
For how hard it
the way
hit
it
there.
hammered it.
Yeah.
And even as the clouds overhead eventually decide to just give up on damp and go straight for rain,
Oh, yeah, it's a walleye, Dave. Dave, there it is. There it is. Oh, yeah.
the hits keep on coming just as hard on the boards.
Oh, look at how big that is. Just T-bone the bait, too.
And whether it's another big fall UP walleye,
I mean, it hit like a huge bass or a big northern, just killed
The board was just shaking.
I guess it was the right kind for us, though.
or even something perhaps a little higher up the food chain,
We're ready to catch them.
for a bite that isn't necessarily supposed to be fast and furious. Much like the incoming downpour, it isn't showing any signs of slowing down.
I don't know what this is, but it's going to be decent, I have a
It's a big
feeling.
fish.
Crush the board.
You got the drag tightened down pretty good, and it strips a little bit of drag. It's
Those head
big.
shakes did not look like a walleye, but out here you never know.
Yeah, the last few cranks here, it hasn't done much, so I'm a little excited. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. Muskie! Yeah, not only Pete Mena can catch these things. Oh, there he is. Get it, Dave. Yes!
Oh, she got some weight.
What do you think about that, Mena? Not just muskie boys can catch these things. Fish of 10,000 casts or trolling big cranks.
Yeah. That's what you get when you're walleye fishing in the UP.
Walleye adventure. Oh, what a beast.
I don't think he felt no
Oh
pain.
no, that one was ready. What a fishery.
Another
I
beauty.
mean, healthy walleyes, Healthy muskies. We're out here, you know, trolling crankbaits
Everything's
around.
fat here.
You don't know what you're gonna catch, do you? Well, this one's definitely got some weight to it, you can see.
Yeah, staying straight down.
Be the right kind.
He hit like the wrong kind, but he's acting like the right kind.
Yeah, the way he's straight down like this, he could be the right kind, and he's definitely got weight to him. There's a lot of weight there, Dave.
He sure whacked it funny.
Yeah, he did. He's just straight down under the boat. If you can, off to the side just a little bit, otherwise he's going to be right in the motor when it comes up. You can lift him a little bit. There we go. I kind of knocked you on the head with the net a little bit, but...
It sure looked like it would be a northern.
Yeah, I mean, man, this thing just killed it. But here you go, man. You reeled it in. It's all yours.
You're gonna let me hold the fish?
Yep. Oh, look at that thing.
It's a beaut.
Oh, it's you know, it's raining out here, but when you can come out and catch fish like this, you don't feel the rain very much, do you?
Leading information on tackle and techniques to make you a better fisherman. Presented by Mercury.
Several years ago, Gary Parsons and I worked with Berkley to come out with a series of crankbaits called the Flicker Shad. We put a lot of great attributes into the bait for a shad style bait, things like a very quick top to bottom roll, a high pitched rattle. We started out with 2 sizes, the number 5 and 7, and more recently we added on the 4 and 6. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why do you need so many sizes of crankbaits for one particular style? The reason is that there's different times to use different sizes. The first thing to look at maybe is the depth that you're actually fishing. There are many times, especially in the spring, when walleyes can be up very shallow, and an effective way to catch them is to troll in 4, 5, even 6 feet of water. So in those cases, I want a bait that doesn't dive too deep but still has a good action. In those cases, I use, say, the number 4 and the number 5. They're also a more subtle action, so that's better in that cold water, early season time frame. Now, as the summer moves on, a lot of times walleyes move out a little bit deeper. That's when I want to go to a little bit more aggressive bait, but I also want one that can dive fairly deep. The number 6 and number 7 bait here, even on monofilament, can dive all the way down to 14 or 15 feet deep just by letting out 150 feet of line. So again, the first attribute you might look at when picking which bait to use is how deep am I fishing, and then picking a bait that only goes that deep. The second thing to look at, and maybe more importantly, is the profile of the bait, because a lot of times a different profile is going to catch better fish for you. Early in the season, again, a lot of times smaller baits do better because the bait fish is small. As the summer moves on, I'm going to move to a bigger and bigger bait. Another time to look at different profiles is based on the size of fish you're catching. So that's why there's so many different ranges of baits in one particular style. One thing I want to add is this last summer, we actually added another bait. We did a lot of prototype testing with it. This is the new number 9 Flicker Shad. Again, it's a bigger bait. When you get around big fish, this might be a great selection. So a lot of different sizes, all will catch walleyes. Just use the right one at the right time.
It may be cold and windy.
I mean, that wind actually calmed down a little bit. It blew for pretty good for about half hour, and then it's laid down.
And it might have even gotten pretty wet at times. But this is the UP of Michigan, where a little weather and big walleyes go hand in hand.
Welcome to the UP.
As professional walleye anglers, Chase Parsons and Dave Atkinson continue making all the right moves, literally.
What I'm doing is actually making some gradual S-turns. Not real sharp ones, just real gradual, and what that's doing is making those crankbaits speed up on the outside and slow down on the inside. So if there's fish following those baits, it's making them make a decision right now if they want to take that bait or not. So between slowing your speeds down and changing the speeds of the lures by the direction your boat's going, those are 2 good ways to catch more fish in cold temperatures. Come on, Walter! Seems like it's got a little bit of a little weight to it, huh, Dave?
Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely got weight to it. I'm gonna get the net for you on this one.
It's got some weight.
Looks like a good one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a walleye, Dave. Woo! a little bit yet. Come on, baby. Oh yeah!
Cemented. Awesome.
Look at that thing.
That is a toad.
Woo! Oh, look at this thing, Dave.
The gold clown does it again.
Look at that thing.
Yeah, these fish have a lot of girth this time of year.
That is a beautiful Sault Ste. Marie fish right there, huh?
That is a gem.
Unbelievable. Here we go. We're going bass fishing today.
I'm just running a little cockamine.
Little cockeye.
Don't put any footage of me biting baits. I'll get one stuck in my face.
Oh, a little bit of a face wash. Hey, that was a nice Dave Atkinson fish right there.
He couldn't suck in his gut.
Well, Dave,
Not a bad day on the water.
not a bad day, but say it's time to head in, huh?
Yes, sir.
For more information on boating, fishing, travel, or tackle in the Sault Ste. Marie area, Dave Atkinson is always willing to share his passion for the outdoors. Come visit with Dave across from the St. Mary's River or online at thelastresortofsaultstemarie.com.